confirmed, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was technically confirmed by the production alliance in Atlanta.
Okay, well, I had no idea there was going to be a season 2 of Loki. Did anyone else?
No, I didn't.
No.
I was so worried at the end. I was like, oh no, what's going to happen?
I heard rumors. But
people kept saying the first season of Loki, season finale. So I was like, is there supposed to be a second season? And then they confirmed it. I was like, okay.
Yeah. I didn't want to get my hopes up and think that there was going to be a season 2 only to be let down. So I was.
I thought it was like the same people going, look at WandaVision season 2, Falcon and Winter Soldier season 2. And I'm like, no, that's not happening.
Exactly.
But yeah, I thought it was the same sort of thing.
Okay. I didn't want to get my hopes up.
Okay, well, we're live, and we are talking about not the series finale, but the season 1 finale of Loki.
What?
And we're up all night to get Loki, right? Loki. Loki.
Up. I was up all night last night.
Me too.
Wow.
Okay,
Nice.
Katrina, Maggie has to stay up to 3 for when it starts, while you are midnight. So
yeah.
I can't even stay up till midnight. I don't know how you stay up till 3 a.m. That's bananas.
No,
that's bananas.
Yeah.
I tried to set an alarm. I turned it off and reset it for 6.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah. Nope. I could not do it. But I watched it during an early-ish lunch break. I say lunch break because it was 10:30 because I could not hold off any longer.
I love this.
Yeah, because the internet is dark and full of spoilers.
Did anybody have anything spoiled for them on social media? Because I was off social media until I had finished.
I didn't open my phone until I saw the episode.
I intentionally went on to find spoilers because I needed to know if there was going to be more, for 1, and 2, if Loki survived, because I wasn't prepared for that, so I needed to emotionally prepare if that was the case.
Sure, that's understandable.
Yeah, I just I took a big old nap at 6 p.m. and then at 8 I started the season and just marathoned it until midnight hit. So
that is so impressive.
That's clutch.
It's really good. I had to rewatch the episode to be accurate for today because I was super tired when I watched it. But I was like, this is the one that I'm going to stay up for because I hadn't done that since Mando season 2 finale. So
oh wow,
yeah. So I hadn't bothered to stay up until just now.
Yeah, but okay. So thoughts about the season finale?
Wow,
emotions.
A1. I can't believe that the reveal didn't leak. I did not see anything about it. I don't know if anybody saw anything about it, but I was just when Jonathan Majors showed up, I was like, let's go.
Wow.
That was sick.
I mean, I knew he was coming because I had seen rumor posts and stuff on Twitter. Unfortunately, I had seen those. And so I knew he was going to be someone. I didn't know he was going to be King. And I somehow avoided all spoilers about him being King, completely. So no idea.
Yeah, I know he was going to be King because he's in Quantumania. He's the villain. But
Ant-Man, the third Ant-Man movie.
Yeah, the third Ant-Man movie. But he was actually asked. Somebody asked him. He was like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." Like the opposite that
Well
Tom
done.
Holland. Yes.
Opposite of Mark Ruffalo. He's just tight-lipped, right?
Yeah,
I had thought that he was supposed to be the mid-credit scene, so I was pleasantly surprised that he had an actual arc, so to speak, in the episode, which I think made that really work.
I forgot who they cast as Kang, so when he shows up, I'm like, some guy.
Somebody.
I was so tickled.
I had no idea.
Nominee.
And then he's like, they called me Conqueror. I'm like, oh, that's the guy.
Yeah.
And then I put it together.
I knew him. I knew the actor, but I didn't know who he was playing. And I'm like, I'm on board for this. And I love that the person in charge of the TVA, oh my God, we lost.
Maggie, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to forget him.
I don't know what just happened.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay. It was Kang.
I was really happy that, I know, I didn't know too much about Kang, but I like that he was just a guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't some mythical being.
Yeah.
He's just a tired dude. He just wants a break.
I'm old and I'm tired. That's what he said.
He's like, Oz chaos, take over. I don't care. I need a nap.
Tired.
One way or another, I want out.
And I love how he was so interested when they crossed the threshold. He's like, we did it. We crossed the threshold. Even he is marveling at the unknown. It's insane.
Yeah, because there was a point that he was like, you know what? I don't know what happened until 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, he was like counting. He's like 8, 9, 10 seconds ago.
Oh, okay. So Tracy asks, what do you think the Kang variants are going to be in Spider-Man, or are we going to wait to see them in Loki season 2? We already saw a statue of one because time definitely changed.
Yeah, I think we're going to see that like ripple out a lot. It's a lot like when the effects of the blip that we've seen over the past few seasons of Marvel shows. Like, I think that's going to be one of the leading connectors through, especially the next movie, like the Multiverse of Madness. So
I was saying the entire time, I was like, Loki's going to break it. Loki's going to break the timeline, but it was still a Loki.
It was a Loki.
It was just a Sylvie too. And
I'm so glad they brought the timeline fracture back because it happened at the end of episode 2, and then they don't talk about it until this episode.
Yeah.
I thought they forgot because you all seemed really worried, and then nothing.
Yeah.
So,
Hi, Brandon.
Yeah. I think what Loki did so well, especially in the finale, is that it continued like wanting more. Like, we don't have answers to everything. Even like you could argue episode 2 didn't really get solved in terms of that, but I think, especially now that there's season 2, but I think it gives us so much conversation going for like a year or whatever it's going to be. It's prime.
Yeah.
there's now rumors that Loki is going to be in Doctor Strange. And ever since I saw the comic with Doctor Strange, Wanda,
the three of
and
them.
Loki, the three of them fighting together, and they're just like ticking each other off. Those
That would be
characters, I need to see them in a scene
So
together.
crazy.
If it's not Multiverse of Madness, it's going to be whatever big event film ties.
Sure.
Well,
this
and
event together.
the thing is that in his birthday, Tom Hiddleston said he was filming, and the Loki season had wrapped up already. So, and they were filming Multiverse of Madness in London. So that's the thing.
Can I just say, I went into this episode thinking this probably will be the last time we see Tom as Loki.
How dare you?
I know.
Never think that again.
I was preparing myself for the worst. And I was like, just enjoy it, Candace, because I've been on the Loki train since the beginning. I'm sorry. I was like, Thor who? Watching
there had been this interview that was going around from Tom that he talked about that he was acting as Loki on his birthday this year, which is like February 9th, and like Loki had already wrapped, and so a lot of people were like, what are you playing Loki in?
Right. I mean, we probably could have thought he was reshoots.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Tom Holland was talking about Spider-Man and Loki. I totally misunderstood you.
Oh no, my bad.
Getting the Toms.
Maybe
Too many Toms.
Too many Toms.
Too many Tom H's.
Too many Loki? No such thing,
There's
right?
never too many Loki.
What did you guys? What did you all think of all the Lokis we got to see?
Alligator Loki is the best Loki. I'm sorry, Tom Hiddleston, but Alligator Loki.
Alligator is the best.
President Loki.
Yeah, give us more President Loki. Jeez.
I love Kid Loki. I love anything that points to Young Avengers, which a lot of these new shows have. And so like seeing him was like, oh my God, like, just this much closer, especially with Kang now, like we're this much closer to Young Avengers. It's coming.
Can I just like give props to Kid Loki for just absolutely dropping the bomb and saying like, yeah, I killed Thor, and just like walks away? And it's just like, okay, cool.
And then like Variant Loki's like, what?
It was crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
It was
I'm so pleased with all the variants. And like I honestly like I'm glad that the differences that there are to establish MCU Sylvie from like her comic counterpart so that she is a Loki. Like she's not like confused. She doesn't think she's a Loki. She's definitely Loki, and she decided to keep this form as her primary form. And like I think it's like it like following her story throughout this was such an unexpected treat,
Yes.
It was like a bonus.
And I'm really hoping that season 2 we get to see more of the evolution of her character, since so much of this season was focused on our Loki. I'm hoping that we see that same sort of character development and like learning to trust for Sylvie.
Sophia Di Martino Oh my god. Wow.
She's magical.
So good.
First
Such a
episode,
great
even
job.
like her telling Variant Loki, like, this isn't about you. And I was like, oh, I love her. I love her.
Give it to him.
The best.
Yeah,
That was
great.
amazing.
he and Tom had great chemistry, right?
Incredible chemistry.
Like they would just
Yes.
like
Oh,
look at each
God.
other and communicate.
Mhm.
Like Sylvia looking, and you're like, oh, okay. You guys do that now?
Oh yes.
Yeah,
I mean, who knows you better than you know
them?
yourself? Right?
Yeah, that's true. Even in the final episode, and I don't want to jump. I don't want to say it because I know it's a hot topic among y'all here. But you can tell in her eyes when they after the moment happens. You know, you can tell in her
kiss?
eyes. Yeah, the kiss. You can tell like she just shuts it down. Yeah, and she's like, oh, beautiful picture by the way. But she's like, shuts it off, and she's like, this is a con. I have to play Loki. I have to fulfill my part that I know I have to fulfill. If we don't get an actress like Sophia Di Martino, like that doesn't translate in an instant.
Yeah.
And it translated
agree.
so well.
Comes across
Yeah,
So
it
well.
hurt her. Like the scene after, okay, spoiler alert,
Yeah.
she kills He Who Remains.
Mhm.
And I
Yes.
saw some people on the internet being upset about that she didn't go off with Loki. But it makes perfect sense.
Yes,
I
because
feel
her
like
mission.
Loki had his moment this season, his moment of like introspection, and he can like come to terms with his glorious purpose, and he got a highlight reel, and he's had time to like come to terms with his life. She hasn't had that. She basically showed up from being on the run, and then we have seen her from the moment she stopped running to present day. Essentially,
She's
And
been
then
running since she was like 11.
She hasn't had that evolution.
Yeah,
she hasn't
I
had the
think
chance. Like her singular drive, she's done it. She's killed
Her
it.
revenge. Yes.
Now
And
what?
That was her moment.
It isn't satisfying. So
Not-
that's
No.
what leaves us ready for more.
Yeah.
Imagine this kid growing up in apocalypses, because that's literally what she's had to do
Yes.
forever, for however much time. She
And
has
the
just
thing
been
is, like-
living at the end of the world over and over again.
And,
And
like,
how many
Sophia
of-
Di Martino's. Oh, sorry. Go on. Go on.
Oh, how many apocalypses has she entered where like she recognized people, where like her
Yeah.
family was part of it? Has she been to Ragnarok? Like we don't know that about her. And I think like
I don't know.
when it comes to the evolution of Silky, I am surprised we got a kiss at all this season, especially because there's a season 2. I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna stretch this out. It's a Disney property. We're gonna wait till like 3 and then we'll finally get a smooch. But no, like this is something to establish. Like, yes, there is love between them, but they need to go on journeys before they can come together, you know, again.
I got to admit that I was scared when they kissed. Of course, that somehow how He Who Remained was going to stab from the back or something. I was having
Keep watching
flashbacks.
where this fear comes from.
Yeah, right.
Visceral fear inside that things will just go badly.
Yeah, you were never trained to believe anything bad would happen, right?
Never.
Exactly. Never.
Nope. Oh, okay. We talked about the variant Lokis, but we didn't talk about Richard E. Grant as classic Loki.
A round of
good.
applause. Yeah.
So
What a
good.
performance.
Incredible.
Like we got the Emmy nominations this week for like so many different great performances in like WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I'm excited for, you know, next year because Richard E. Grant is probably like one of the only white men that I'm just like, that's him, like that's the one I want to win.
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm
Yeah.
fully backing his Emmy nomination. Let's go. Like,
Yeah.
I was talking
so
to my
good.
friend who's in theater about Richard G. Grant and just like about like the choices he makes. He seems to only pick things that are fun, like things that interest him.
You know
Yeah.
what? If that's available to him, like the man is living the dream. He is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's having fun with them. Like, you know,
Enjoy it.
Super.
Yeah.
cool.
why wouldn't you? I would if I was in that position.
Exactly.
And I love like
so sad.
how with the small amount of time we spent with all 3 of those additional Lokis and Alligator Loki, all 3 of them had their individual arcs. And where I think like obviously I feel like we're gonna see Kid Loki again. Like I don't think that's the last we've seen of him
No.
or
yeah.
Alligator Loki. But like we saw an arc for Boastful Loki. We saw an arc, especially with Richard E. Grant's Loki. And I thought that was super special. And like it takes a lot of talent to guide your 2 main heroes and their, you know, and Mobius through that episode while like giving these two characters like this impactful arc.
Oh, let's talk about Mobius.
Mobius.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
boy.
And
Didn't get his jet
Wilson-
ski. Where's his jet ski?
Yeah.
Season 2.
I had no idea that I would love Mobius as much as I have come to love him. You know?
Yeah,
Sweet boy.
and Owen Wilson is really well known. He's you see him, it's Owen Wilson, you know? But I feel like he really disappeared in Mobius. I didn't think, oh, that's Owen Wilson from Wedding Crashers or anything like that. I saw Mobius.
Yes, totally embodied that character.
I'll admit it took me a minute to see past Wedding Crashers, Lightning McQueen, like Zoolander.
I mean,
like it took me a minute, but
that's Jedediah. That's who I see when I look at him from Night at the Museum. That's Jedediah.
right.
Like,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I see Hansel from Zoolander.
yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I want in season 2, one of my only wishes is for Mobius to get a jet ski.
Yes.
Gotta happen.
He deserves this.
He deserves
Yeah.
that.
I'm
wish is
worried.
for him to say "wow" when he sees
Wow.
the jet ski.
They knew that people would be wanting it, and they're just prolonging it as long as they can. We'll get it down the road.
gratification.
That's
the
one of
real-
our other slow burns in Loki.
That's
Wow.
the real
Mobius
slow burn of
slash
Loki.
jet
The kiss is done. It's the jet ski.
The jet ski.
So well
I think-
for the jet ski.
I think the most heartbreaking scene in the final episode is delivered by Mobius. Is when he asked Loki, "Who are you? Or do you work here? Where are you from?" Just my heart just split in two, and I don't think anybody can deliver that quite like Owen Wilson does in that role. But that was the heartbreaking scene.
Okay, let's talk about Mobius and Loki.
Mhm.
Because everyone's like, oh, it's still like it wasn't just Sylvie. It wasn't just what he saw at the TVA. It was also his relationship with Mobius
Mhm.
that helped change Loki.
Yes, because he was someone who told him, "Hey, I believe you can do whatever you want. You can be whatever you want, and you can use that for good."
Mhm.
And we see what they part ways and the void, and he tells him, "Thank you, my friend." That's really.
I know that
what's
moment
really
still sticks with me. I love that moment so much.
Do you remember
So-
like Loki's reaction when he thinks Mobius is killed, like when he's
Yeah.
pruned?
Oh.
Oh my god!
I know.
That
He's just
hurt.
a mess. Like I wanted to bring that up was those two moments. It was then and then in this episode here where we saw Loki pause and stop and like sit with his emotions. And
Yep.
I feel like these scenes are more impactful than any actions, even though the action in this episode in the series has been like top tier, amazing. Like these scenes that allow these characters to like sit here and kind of do that like Miyazaki moment, like they've just really crafted the series into something special.
That's what I've loved so much with this season in particular and the show in particular is that we've had vast moments where the characters are just allowed to talk about their emotions and they're not trying to make like a spectacle out of it. It just feels very authentic and like true and lived in. Like the moment in last week's episode where Sylvie and Loki literally just sit and talk for 5 whole minutes without anything big happening, without being like interrupted, and they're just honest with each other really is like the payoff of this, like of all of Loki's arc leading up to this. Like he's finally allowed to like feel and emote and say things.
Yeah, we get
And
so
I
many scenes, especially in this finale. Like them just sitting with He Who Remains.
Yeah.
And there are pauses. There's just moments.
One thing I like about like the moments from last week, as opposed to the one with He Who Reigns, because they had a big job to do in setting up the multiverse and who Kang is and all that. So it was a lot of exposition. It was delivered really, really well. It was like the Miss Minutes thing in the first episode. Like it's the best way you could have done an info dump like that. But the nice thing about like those quiet moments, like Loki sitting alone or him with Sylvie or anything like that, is it's not furthering plot, but it is furthering character. Like there are no big set pieces they're trying to convey to the audience. It's just me and how I'm feeling and like this is what's going on in my heart right now. And I can't think of, maybe I'm wrong, I can't think of any MCU property that has given this much time to that kind of introspection.
No.
I think Tom Hiddleston I think Tom Hiddleston is a big reason for that. I think he operates better as an actor when he's speaking versus when he has action scenes. Not to say he's not good when he's fighting, but I think what he does.
He's Shakespearean. He's classically trained Shakespearean actor, and that's those beautiful moments is when you're talking.
When we can see a scene of him at the very end when he gets transported out, and we get to feel like 10 different things just by staring at his face. Yeah. That's when you know you've hit that next ring on the ladder of what's possible to say in the MCU, right? Without saying anything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Tom's also an executive producer. I didn't notice that until this credits.
Which is fantastic.
But something that Tracy brought up is something I actually asked Arzu. I'm wondering if people like this finale more than, let's say, WandaVision or Falcon and Winter Soldier is because there is going to be a season 2 of this particular series, even though we know Wanda story is continuing in Doctor Strange. We know that Sam and Bucky will be in a whole new movie together.
Yeah, I think
absolutely right.
Yeah, and the stakes of this finale were like, if you had left it without telling us that there was a season 2, I think I would be very like confused, and I'm sure a lot of fans would be upset if they didn't know when to expect Loki back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when we got like this shot.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
And it was like
my
realizing
sweet
it was
boy.
almost over. I was like,
imagine just ending it there.
Yeah, I was like, I guess some shows in with a cliffhanger and
like
on a downer, and maybe
this was one hell of a downer cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, maybe he'll have a cameo and he'll be like, "Hey, I'm cool, Doctor Strange. Bye."
I'm good.
I was like, how are they gonna do this?
I'm happy they didn't finish it out like him just staring at the sunset with Miss Minutes at the side. So
yeah, and I mean that's go ahead.
Oh no, go on.
I was just saying, and that's why I think I like this, because I love cliffhangers. I like TV shows that like treat it like a TV show, and I think that like for WandaVision, for example, it treated it more like, hey, here's a teaser for a movie that you have to wait a few years for. And so the plot lines that were built up in this series weren't finished. Whereas I feel like Loki finished, even with just the first season, finished a lot of the storylines they set up in this, and then left enough to be like, and here's season 2. And you don't have to wait for a movie. They're keeping it within the TV series, but the TV series is affecting the movies. Rather than like the movies affecting the TV series.
I
think
disagree
this
with that
formula
WandaVision
works.
thing, because Wanda went through something.
Wanda went through something.
It
didn't end because she lost everything, and then you see her in the end, like waiting to find her family again. Like she's alone again.
She learned about herself.
She's learned about herself. So this is like
that's the thing about Marvel. Marvel's a serial.
But her arc isn't
no, but the thing is, Candace, like
Loki's isn't complete either.
No, but Loki's
his emotional journey
arc is done. Wanda's emotional arc was I'm alone. I need this comfort thing. She ends with I'm alone again. Like she doesn't.
It's like
she's not
picture
the point where
okay, we're not going to go into that again. But,
no, but
I felt like WandaVision was complete. That's my opinion.
No, here's where I like another comparison to draw. Like phase 1 of the MCU, every movie in phase 1 of the MCU completes an emotional arc. There is room for a sequel, which we know every single one of those movies got a sequel. There's room for a sequel. So it's not that their story is over, but their arc in that case is over. Like you can end it there and be like, okay, I'm sure they'll have more adventures.
Like
down the
Falcon
line.
and the Winter Soldier did that.
But, you did the stages of grief.
I did do this. That emotional arc is fine. Her narrative is not concluded in any satisfying way. Like her emotional beat of like grieving is complete. I agree with you on that side, but it's the fact that she wanted a family, she lost her family, and she doesn't. That's not ended. Vision's like, we'll see each other again. We can hear her kids calling for her. So there is this story to do with her family, Vision and her children, that is still not told. That she's got all these powers and found out she's the Scarlet Witch. This
but
like
that's what all
any
Marvel
of the,
movies do. They always
that's not how all Marvel
no,
movies end though. Captain America does not become Captain America in the last 5 minutes. Iron Man doesn't become Iron Man in the last 5 minutes. Wanda became the Scarlet Witch in the last 5 minutes.
I think one thing
that's
that
the
Scarlet
really,
Witch was within her all along.
Right, but
that's not exactly how it's played out.
Well, and this is the thing, and one of the issues that I can think about why WandaVision was that, because it was planned to be released right before
Exactly.
Strange 2. So that would be different because it's like, oh, we're watching WandaVision and then, oh, Strange 2.
Exactly.
In
That's
a
how.
non-pandemic
feeling.
world, we wouldn't be having this conversation because we
Exactly.
would have already seen Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
But that's the
Crazy
thing with
world.
these movies. I feel like they're not gonna. It's just like the Star Wars TV shows. I don't think you're not gonna have to watch them to know what's happening in these movies.
But you will have to watch these shows to get the full narrative. Like I should be
Sure.
able to, let's say I can only watch Clone Wars and be satisfied with that arc in theory. Like I can only watch Clone Wars and that's enough. But I shouldn't have to jump from WandaVision to Doctor Strange to this, to this, to this. Like it's a richer story if you do it that way, but you should within that umbrella tell the full story.
And there's a thing that I hope, because like to Norhal's point, I think that I hope, or at least I hope that Marvel has seen that maybe making things very isolated and isolated, like Loki, though connected to a larger thing, works better in principle than something like WandaVision that really was designed to be the thing you saw before you went to see a movie. And maybe pulls back more and says, okay, we should isolate these things and then build them in so they fit into the picture, but not make them hinge so much on the movie release that's now pushed down the line because of a global pandemic. And that's something that nobody's ever going to prepare for. None of us were prepared for that. So I don't fault them for that. But it's just, it's
Very
just the story.
together as one story. So I think that's the only.
Yeah, it's the emotional
That's
beats. It's
Yeah.
if you had the movie, I wouldn't have an issue with it because I could go see the movie and finish that emotional beat there.
Okay, but what I'm saying is I personally saw the grieving as a whole arc for Wanda, and she accepted it. And that's what I saw as the conclusion of WandaVision. Maybe it's because I know it's Doctor Strange. Maybe it's because I'm obsessed with the MCU, and I'm just used to the serial narrative of it. But that's just, again,
fair.
that's my personal opinion.
That's fair. That's completely fair.
Yeah.
And, like everyone can see the story in a different way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure.
I think
And-
Loki, can I tie it back to Loki, saying that
Yes.
there are tons of different ways you can perceive the storyline in Loki. You obviously have everything about self-acceptance. You can look at it as a straight MCU property and just say, this is Loki going through this, and there's variants, et cetera, et cetera. Like, there are different things that you can see throughout the entire series. So I think it beats with everybody on a different way.
Yeah, and definitely it approached the theme of free will versus determinism. If we are able to make a decision, or if we are predetermined what we're gonna do, and a lot about time. I really like that, and all these little hints. Like, for example, when you see He Who Remains with this apple, it took me back to Doctor Strange when the first thing he do with the eye of Agamotto is like eating the apple, stuff like that. So
Could that not be a reference to Adam and Eve as well, like predetermination and
Yes.
something like that? If he
That's what I
is
thought.
eating
My
the
first
apple, if he determines exactly what happens to everybody else, that could be kind of the callback there. That
the tree of knowledge.
and
He's eating
Isaac
from the tree of
Newton
knowledge
with the
'cause he
apple.
knows everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but talking, going now that you mentioned about all the serial, can we talk about the intro of this the finale?
oh my god,
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It was
I was not ready to hear that song. I literally had to pause the show, recollect myself, and say, "Are we going here? And am I ready for this?" Couldn't do it.
Mhm.
I have mixed feelings about it. We talked a little bit about this on DMing. The Marvel stuff was great. Hearing everyone's voice, but it got a little weird when it was like the real
I know.
world stuff.
You
And
tossing like Greta Thunberg in there,
also
That was
the
very-
real
And
world
Nelson
quotes-
Mandela.
and
Yeah.
Nelson
Nelson
Mandela.
Mandela,
Okay,
Maya
Malala
Angelou.
was in there. Yeah, it was.
It was the quotes
It was a choice.
English
Yeah.
speaking people of all time,
Sure.
and it was all from like the past century. You know,
Yeah.
that is my issue.
I'm almost wondering if you dub it into another language, is it different people speaking?
Oh, that's
Hmm.
interesting.
I didn't
I
think
like that.
I'm curious.
You want me to go check right now? I have it up.
That would be interesting. I think it would have been better if it was like all of like Loki's, maybe it's Loki's past or Sylvie's past, and you hear just things from Thor movies. But yeah, it was just really random. I'm like, but this is just from the past like few decades.
Well, the maybe the real world, the ones that are like the MCU ones. Some people were saying, maybe you should have hear Fox properties or
That was me.
something.
I suggested that, like
That would
Fox,
be
X-Men, and the
But-
others. Can you imagine the chaos on Twitter today if that had happened?
That
Would
would
have
be,
shut
but
down the platform.
I know, but I think it ties with the multiverse because, for example, you hear the song that Steve is dancing with Peggy, and then you hear the Iron Man song, the sound of the armor, and then you hear like the choices of the voices, like kind of maybe tie on what is gonna be after this in terms of the Phase 4. That's what I thought.
Yeah, my mind keeps going back to like the What If series and how it actually is going to be affecting the MCU and like how things are going to spin out from now. Because what we're going to see, at least my guess, when it comes to the future of King, when it comes to the King that we're going to see in the new Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, is that's going to be our first like introduction to a variant King.
Yeah.
And he's going to be like like we said before, he's that connector between all of them. So I'm wondering if like that, and this is me just like getting back to my roots as like a nerd journalist, like I wonder if like that is a connector to like, you know, to Captain Carter, to all of these new storylines that we're going to see just like weaving in and out of the MCU from this cartoon.
Those splinters are all what ifs.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's going to be
Splinters.
the intro to like each episode of What If is like
That
following
would be
one of those
cool.
splinters.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
and
a good
maybe-
idea.
And maybe that's why we haven't had a Spider-Man No Way Home trailer.
It's gotta be.
It's 100% the reason.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, the Spider-Man fans today, which I am a Spider-Man fan, but like the intense Spider-Man fans on Twitter today is like, where's our trailer?
Who legitimately would think that we would get a Spider-Man trailer after Loki? Like that literally, I'm a Spider-Man fan, I can't wait. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
I think
We
it's
did. We
because they
didn't,
thought-
right?
We didn't. I
missed
think
something, okay.
people
Didn't.
thought because there's rumors about Toby and Andrew being in it, but that's about the multiverse. And since Loki is about the multiverse and it broke the multiverse, that's why we would get a trailer after it, because it would contain the spoiler of
Sure.
the splintering.
So not to go back to what we were just doing. I just watched the clip. It is all in English, even in every other dub, and it's all of the same people.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
A choice.
Well, way to bring us down, Maggie.
I'm sorry.
I have a question.
But yeah.
I have a question. I don't know. Like, I know time is not a linear thing, and it's
it's wibbly wobbly,
wobbly,
timey
wimey, all that stuff. But is Shang-Chi supposed to be set before or after this? I know this is set in no particular place, no particular time, but are they being affected by the multiverse, or has it not split yet?
Shang-Chi and...
I think it's in the MCU timeline we have been following. Oh no, we lost Katrina.
Did my question offend?
She's like, I'm out.
She's like, Shang-Chi, nope.
Can't do it.
Nope.
I think it's in our MCU timeline, but it's not the timeline where the variant Loki came from. It's the timeline that just got over the blip.
It's the Endgame timeline.
Yes, because we're going to see Abomination from the Incredible Hulk.
Okay.
So it's Tim Roth, right, Ethan?
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
I hope.
And when we get it, and we got a trailer for Shang-Chi, and everybody sees Abominable or Abomination.
Abomination, yeah.
Everybody comes out and they're like, "I've loved Abomination for 9 years. He's finally back." And that was the most absurd thing that everybody has ever done of all time.
I know, right?
That was crazy.
Considering that, Hulk, the Incredible Hulk is, I don't know, it's not like...
I have a soft spot for it because it was filmed here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's true.
If you had a soft spot for every film in Toronto, that would be like every film.
Every film.
My favorite thing is when they're like, he's going up like whatever street, he's terrorizing Harlem. I'm like, they could not have picked a more distinctive Toronto intersection with a very distinctive sign that nowhere else in the world has. I'm like, that is Sam the Record Man. Like, they don't have that anywhere else. And you paused there to say that we're in Harlem. So
they do that in Chicago is clearly Toronto all the freaking time.
And New York.
And New York.
And Quantico.
But also, what's her name? Liv Tyler.
Yeah.
Liv Tyler,
She teaches at the college I went to. Like, how could I not have a soft spot for this?
I love that for you.
That's cool.
That's cool.
That's my Incredible
But
Hulk
I think
stand.
it's after Endgame. It's not in the same reality.
I think so.
It's,
Have
I
we
guess
talked?
it could be a different timeline, but I think they would want to keep it in the same timeline. So when they have their next meetup, the next Avengers.
It won't give everybody a headache.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have we talked about like the guest stars and supporting cast on this show yet? Because
No.
oh my
No.
gosh, like okay, first off, where's Casey? Is he okay? Like, is he all right? Because I love Eugene Cordero,
I do.
and it was so cool to see Casey on this show.
I know.
Yeah, and I was like, I was sad that we only got to see him in like 2 episodes, and then Susan
Yeah.
Gallagher showed up on
Yeah.
the dying planet, the L name, Lamentus.
Lamentus.
Lamentus, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I just like I'm blown away by like how well cast this show was. Like it, Tara
Yes.
as Miss Minutes just like hits the mark. Like she's just incredible, and yeah.
Did
Not to
anyone get a
mention,
jump scare in today's finale?
Yes!
No.
oh yeah,
Oh my god,
That made me jump.
I scare really easy, and I was just like, oh, there she is.
Yeah.
not to mention Kaylee Fleming for Kid Loki, by the way, which is like that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
Or Kid
Yeah.
Sylvie,
Yes.
sorry.
Yeah,
So-
and also,
Technically, Kid Loki.
Yeah,
Technically
I was
Kid
technically right.
but
Yeah.
also, Gugu Badara, that she was.
She's incredible. I love her so
As
much.
Ramona.
One quick thing about Kid Loki. Do you remember in Thor Ragnarok where Valkyrie and Bruce and Thor are like, should we trust Loki? Loki's tied up over there. And Thor's like, once when we were 8, he was a snake and he knows I really love snakes. So he picked up the snake and then he just like transformed and stabbed me. Is that how he killed him?
Or maybe he was
Bro.
accidentally venomous, and he was like,
I
"Oops."
didn't realize.
Oops. Yeah.
I'm just like,
So
I
funny.
was
Maybe
just
that
thinking
was the
about that
time.
story about how like maybe that's how he killed Thor, the Kid Loki.
Oh.
Oh, sorry. I love that scene. I love that movie
It's a
so
great
much.
scene.
Okay, yes. Let's talk about Judge Ryan. Oh, wait.
Ramona.
Renslayer.
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 Ramona Renslayer.
Renslayer.
Oh,
So
she
she
was,
slay Rance?
Apparently.
Oh my
she
god.
was so good at
All
being
that
like
Mexicans.
a bureaucrat, but also like mysterious bureaucrat.
Yes.
I also like that, like I kind of said this in my recap, but you know, when in media, when like the big organization falls and everybody's like, you're right, I was wrong. And they
Yeah.
immediately flip. She's
Mhm.
like, I don't think I was wrong. I want to know, like, I still want to believe that I'm right. And she doesn't flip right away. And I'm like, that's fascinating. And I hope we get a lot more of that in
No.
season
No,
2.
I completely love that because if you think about it, how she was sending children to death.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
you
What
have
gets
to
you to
think
that point?
what
Is her-
you have been doing for all
Is
this
her
time.
not flipping part of her being able to cope with the actions that she's done? If she changes her mindset and says like, okay, you're right, the TVA is really messed up, then
And what
she
does that
can't
mean?
justify everything that she's already lived for. So she has to
Right.
stick to her guns and just say like, fine, I have to be able to live with myself and go to sleep at night. So I'm
Yeah.
sticking to my ideals.
Oh, absolutely.
Also-
but I like love that.
Yeah, same.
Also-
It's not like, yeah, like you said, in all the things, it's like the bad guys are like, oh, we're the bad guys. We're on the
Also-
good guys team now.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how much they pull from the comics with
Yeah.
Kang and
Mhm.
Ravonna, because like
Mhm.
that's a
Because-
whole thing in the comics.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
she was
I
the
didn't
love
think of it.
interest.
She doesn't seem to know, at least this iteration,
But
but
could
will
she?
she know?
But we
Yeah.
didn't see her after
Yes.
all the splinter, all the
Yes.
realities.
Where did she go? Where
Yeah,
would
what-
she be able to go?
I know.
Where in the world is Ravonna Renslayer?
Where in the multiverse?
Give us a spinoff.
Right? Like she's looking for her purpose, I think.
Yeah,
Looking for free will. Yeah.
that's what she said.
God, there's so much philosophy, especially in this
know.
last episode. But like, what would you do?
Yeah.
What would you do?
What would
But
you
also, would you believe he who remains?
I know because
Uh,
all what he was saying, and you see both sides of the coin. Where Loki is that I don't believe you,
Mhm.
and Sylvie is like, wait a minute. I mean, she was committed to her revenge, the mission. Like, hey, this guy put me to all this pain, but Loki was like, yeah, I don't think so. So
yeah. That's tough. I feel like the Sylvie situation is very similar to Renslayer again, because like that was her moment that she lived for. If she redacts on that moment and says like, okay, yeah, maybe he is telling the truth, I feel like that's hard for her to live with herself then. Maybe it's just easier to keep being who she is. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's tough. Can I ask a question real quick?
Go for it.
Okay, can I see everybody's pulse on episode 3? Are we yay episode 3 or nay? I feel like that was a big dividing episode.
Lamentus?
Yeah. So
that was like one of the best episodes.
Yeah,
Yay
I
for
loved
Maggie. Love to hear that.
episode
Yeah, I
Love
didn't
to
know
hear it.
people
it
didn't
was
like
awesome.
it.
That
Who
felt
didn't
like a
like
giant
it?
Doctor Who episode. I
It
loved
had
it.
so much character.
Yeah.
Mwah.
So
Development.
it's the lowest rated one on IMDb at 7.9. Everything else is a 9.0 or above, basically. And
boring.
I love
Somebody's-
Lamentus, and everybody I talked to is like, that was the worst episode. And I was like, you can be quiet.
I
Oh my
like.
gosh.
I hate to like sound like such a quote unquote shill, but like there's not a bad episode of this series, and
No.
you know
Yeah.
maybe that's something that's like its success is in how short each season is, but like because each episode was treated like a little mini movie in a way,
Agree.
it was just like composed so well, and I didn't spend too much time somewhere. I didn't get bored, especially with this episode.
It's a
Just-
no
yeah.
skip series. Let's be real.
No. Mhm.
Yeah, it felt all dynamic and really, I don't see why.
I
Okay.
love the final shot. That was my last episode 3 thing. I love that final shot. And we get the cut, like we get a song that cuts in while we're still watching the show instead of cutting at the credits. I thought that was like really Breaking Bad vibes.
And
And
the
I
show was so
loved that
good.
so much.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
Incredible.
I'm still so glad we got. I'm blanking on the name of the song now. Though Haley. Oh my god.
Yes. I know what song you're
You
talking
know what I'm
about.
talking about. Yes.
Yeah.
Was it the intro with whatever the one of the hunters drinking the drink?
Yes. It's
Yeah.
that one. Yeah. Haley Kikyo. Oh.
Kikyo?
Haley
Yeah.
Kiyoko. Oh my gosh.
Kyoko.
yes.
There we go.
That
Kyoko.
song, Demons. It's been
Yes,
it
Demons.
has been in my head for
There you
like
go.
weeks now.
So
Like,
good.
It was so perfectly poised. And like, I'm all about Silky. I'm also about like Lokius, whatever. In that final episode, I was like, oh no, Loki's sad because his girlfriend and his boyfriend are gone. And
Yeah.
but I loved that scene because like right off the bat, it was my way of seeing Sylvie as like a queer person, which Loki naturally is. Like that she is also, as I would suppose, as gender fluid as Loki.
Yeah.
And so it was really cool. And I really loved all the gay vibes in that scene. And I think the Haley Kiyoko song went perfectly.
Can
with it.
can we just? I know it's cuttable and it's easy to get rid of,
Mhm.
but they confirmed he is bisexual,
Yes.
Mhm.
and
Love it.
that is huge for a
Bisexual
Disney
and
property.
gender
And
fluid.
For a Marvel,
Amazing.
yeah.
Mhm.
So cool.
yeah, everyone's heard my rant about the Endgame, the therapy,
That
grief
guy.
therapy thing, and they're like, "We got representation." I'm like, that doesn't count.
It's not, yeah. I mean, this
Feel better
is
for yourself.
yeah. Kate Herron said that like this was the best that she could do, and I think that this is the best that you can do every time is a way to open the door to like
Yeah.
something new. And while I wouldn't encourage anyone to wait around for Marvel to give them representation when there are great indie stories everywhere, I feel like this series was a good step.
Yeah, step in the right direction.
Yeah, because we're
And-
gonna need to be real gay before we get to the Young Avengers, because none of them are straight.
Yeah. Big time.
And
Yeah.
we've seen that they listen and they see how we react to things. So
Mhm.
that had a very positive, mostly.
Do you
have-
think they let Kate Herron do it? Because I know everything is Disney Plus right now, but do you think they'll let her do it because it's a TV show, not a movie?
Probably.
I think she's
Yeah.
got way more leeway on Disney Plus. Like
Yeah.
I can say, like for Black Widow, Yelena, we don't see anything with her gender mentioned, and in the comics, she is not straight, and so that's I feel like movies are represented very differently. You're talking about $220 million versus a TV show that people just pay $8 a month to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay. Can we talk about the cameos? Oh shit, Bucky.
Oh, Bucky!
Bucky does not want to
Buddy.
talk cameos.
Bucky
He
said,
doesn't
why
want-
didn't I get a cameo?
He
She's
was-
mad.
He was asleep, and that's why it scared me. Okay.
He
First
gave you a
cameo.
Miss Minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lady Sif.
Sif,
It was
this was
Lady
such a good
Love it.
cameo.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It confirms that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is canon. Sylvie's in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Sylvie's in Disney Plus. It's all good.
Well, now with the multiverse, everything is canon.
Bucky,
true.
stop it. Bucky.
I will only accept the multiverse if that means I get Netflix back.
Right?
Hey,
The
It's
Netflix
Winter.
Marvel shows.
Winter.
Yeah.
All I
It's
care about.
There you go.
Ben
You know
Affleck
what?
has to be
Ben-
there as Daredevil. somewhere,
Daredevil,
too.
yes.
It's a multiverse.
I can take or leave that. I want Charlie Cox. I want John Bernthal. I want Deborah Ann Wall. I want all of them back in my
Oh my
life.
God.
Okay,
Everything.
something I just found out today was, did you know Chris Hemsworth made a cameo?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Especially
Frog,
Throg,
yeah.
Thor.
He was Throg.
Throg.
I completely missed Throg when I was watching the episode. So I was
it's
like, where did
blinking, you
everybody
miss it.
just decide that there's a frog Thor? Like, just because there's an alligator Loki, suddenly there must be a frog Thor. Then I saw the frog.
Reptiles, yes.
Everything.
Yeah, I completely missed that.
Yeah, that was great. And I love that he was, he was trying to reach for Mjolnir. So it was cool because it's like, technically it may very well be backstory about how alligator Loki came to get to where he was, But yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on that number.
365, yeah.
T365. That's T365 is the first issue of Thor in which Frog Thor makes his appearance.
Oh,
way
that's
too
fun.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
so cool.
Yep.
Love the Easter eggs. Okay,
Yes.
so
Did you
what
get a
are-
picture of helicopter, the Thanos helicopter?
Thanos.
Oh, the Thanos copter. Yes.
Is that a comics thing?
Yeah.
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 It was. I think
Yeah.
it was put in comics for like marketing purposes, right? Where they would like make a toy out of it, and
Yeah, it was it's always a toy.
Oh
always a
yeah,
toy.
and it was brought up by like James Gunn like 3 years ago,
yeah.
and he was like, "Oh, can't wait till the Thanos copter is in the MCU." Lo and behold, here it is.
You just got to dream big, and one day it'll happen.
Yep.
Yay.
hmm
Love
And
it.
just like they had a swan off.
As if this man is invisible enough.
God,
Like,
yeah.
and he puts his logo, like he puts his name on it.
It's
Yeah.
bright yellow.
Oh, yeah.
He's all about branding, Thanos.
Yeah.
It's a lost and
Yeah.
found thing. If
Very
it's lost,
strong
they can give it
font.
back to him.
I also
Mhm.
love the Polybius arcade game in the background. I love the like fun little urban legend things that they built into the show, like
Yeah,
DB Cooper, Polybius. Like, oh my gosh, I love
ship.
it.
Yeah.
ship,
And
right?
And the
co-
ship, yeah, the missing ship,
Mhm.
And the gum, the bubble gum, the kablooey.
Yes,
Kablooey.
Kablooey.
It's a reference from Calvin and Hobbes.
Wow.
Cool.
The gooey kablooey.
That is so cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, there's some really good Easter eggs. What's up with the hula girl as well? There's a hula girl on Mobius's dashboard in the Void, and there's one in WandaVision as well. So interesting.
Oh.
Where's our Falcon and Winter Soldier Hula Girl? Hula
Yeah.
Girl, Disney Plus Universe.
Where is our hula girl universe?
Mhm.
Maybe in the boat.
Well, now I know what I'm cosplaying when we go back to cons.
Awesome.
You're definitely gonna do the Thanos helicopter, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm referring to.
That's so amazing.
How would be so
The
easy to do, though? Just a
helicopter.
bright yellow outfit with like Thanos right across your chest.
Cosplay of the year right there.
He just
And you
wants
can
to
have
make
on the
sure-
hats with the spinny thing. And it's like,
Yes!
People
Oh
don't
my
take his
God,
helicopter.
incredible. Yes,
So smart.
I love it.
So what are your hopes for the season 2 of Loki?
Sylvie.
Sylvie.
Loki.
I think that has to be right.
No, like I want her to have what Loki had this
Yes, that's exactly what I want.
I want Loki to, well, I want that. And then also, I'm like a big sucker for all of Loki's stories where like they're a mentor. So with America Chavez coming into the cinematic universe, and
Yeah.
hopefully if they ever revive, oh man, her name's now completely gone. Nico from Runaways.
Yes.
Those two have been Loki's apprentices in the comics, and I would love to see that.
That would be so good.
That's my
I
like out of left field. Like that would be neat, I've done that before for The Mandalorian, and it happened, you know. So I'm just.
And I feel like this
universe.
Loki is primed for mentorship,
Mhm,
Yes.
mhm.
whereas
Yes,
our
because he's
other
going.
Lokis are
He's
not.
ready.
Loki starts
Nowhere
to
near.
figure out love, so naturally he needs to adopt a teenager.
That's
Yeah.
that's my favorite trope.
Rehabilitation. He
Yeah,
starts
me
Loki
too.
rehabilitation. He gets all the Loki variants, and he's like, "You can be loved, but you first have to love yourself."
Oh,
Love it.
Loki therapy sessions.
I
I
hope
know.
we get. I hope we get more like backstories. I just hope we get like more
Yeah.
flashbacks. Like we got a Sylvie flashback, and that was such an awesome way to start that episode.
Mhm.
And this show is just like primed for a crazy amount of flashbacks. Give
Yes.
us Mobius, Hunter B-15, like give us everything.
Oh, I want so
want-
much of B-15.
I want maybe either a flashback or maybe Loki having something like Thor had with Frigga.
Oh, that's cool.
Mhm.
That would be fantastic.
That would be
I don't
cool.
know how
Yeah.
this would
Oh,
work,
man.
but I'd like to see Sylvie's Asgard.
Yes.
Yes.
That'd be cool too.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to see what happened after Sylvie got taken from Asgard. Like,
Mm.
did anybody notice? Like, what happened? What did her Thor?
Yeah,
feel?
that's what I
Like,
didn't get. Like she was
Well,
a child playing with
But they
toys.
Yeah.
reset her timeline. Does that mean
Oh,
that she was never
right.
born?
But no, but why reset her timeline then? Why when
Because-
she was 10?
I
Oh,
think
what
it
did
has
she
to
do?
do. I think it has
Yeah.
to do with her morality and her heart, because we see her playing with dolls or with the toys, right? And she's
Mhm.
playing like Save Asgard, so she's technically already following like a hero trope, and she's not supposed to be following a hero trope because like she's a Valkyrie and she's like, oh, the
A
Valkyrie's like
Valkyrie,
saving
yes.
Asgard, and like that's it immediately
not
when
what
they
Lokis
come in
do.
is right there.
Yeah.
Not what
Yeah.
Loki's do.
Loki's are supposed to
But-
make other people's heroes.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
that's a nice tie into Ragnarok when Loki realizes that Valkyrie's a Valkyrie, and he's like, "Whoa!"
Yeah,
Mhm.
So he's
Well,
always had like Loki's have that fascination with Valkyries.
those are the
No,
kind of
they're
flashbacks I want.
Boys.
Mhm.
Going off what Nissa said in the comments here about her Nexus events, like that's something that was
Yes.
left unsaid. They made a big
Yep.
point of her asking Ravonna what was my Nexus event, and her being like,
I don't
remember.
Mhm.
Even though she like very clearly must have, because losing her was like a big moment for
Really?
her and her career. So of course she knows exactly what that Nexus event was. So that's what makes me feel like the next season is going to focus more on Sylvie's journey.
Mhm.
Maybe in parallel with Loki's and whatever new universe he's in.
Mhm.
Hey, Bucky.
Yeah, and then of course I think we're gonna see a whole lot more of Jonathan Majors as various kings.
Yes.
Because
Give
that's
me it.
going to be
All the
like the
kings.
main
My God,
objective, you know?
And I had to admit that I was not expecting Kang to appear, or like He Who Remains, but he just appeared in scenes. He owned the character, and yeah, definitely looking forward to see more of him.
I think it was such a bold play to introduce Jonathan Majors as Kang and then have
Yes.
him go on like a 15-minute tear about
Yeah.
like just talking. You're
It
just
was
not
so
seeing
good.
him do anything. You're listening to him talking
And
about
selling,
himself.
yeah,
And
and
he
selling
did
this
good.
idea of a very sympathetic, like the
So
psychopath, like
Oh yeah.
He's convinced himself like he's doing the
Yeah.
right thing. And you're
Yeah.
kind of like, I kind of agree.
Mhm.
Like if he's telling the truth.
That's what's so brilliant about Loki, because this is information the audience needs for the rest of this phase. We need to know who Kang is in the multiverse and all that. But they've done it in a way that tells you who this character is, and it creates that tension for like our main characters, so that they've managed to work all that into a very heavy piece of exposition.
Mhm.
And I think that's brilliant. Like this show does that so well.
Yeah,
yeah.
so good.
And all, I don't think I mentioned before, but I have to say that the Citadel at the end of the time, it gives me vibe for those that are into Star Wars, of the world between worlds in some way, with all the voices. And
Except Star Wars did that a little bit better. With the voices made sense.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Greta Thunberg didn't show up in the world between worlds.
Yeah.
yeah, the real world ones were like okay,
If
but
you
yeah.
think about like super soldiers are fighting in World War II, like things have to change a little bit more. You know,
I think it's like the discomfort of like we identify these things with like real life like political
Yeah.
happenings. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know, one of the people whose voices they use like got shot in the head over like a political dispute as a child. Like,
yeah.
so it's like, you know, I just wonder about like all of the rights that had to be secured and like
Wow.
who agreed to
Mhm.
what and like who made that choice, because it was kind of weird. Like, I get it, like I get they wanted that intense feeling that was already like kind of given to us from the music alone, but like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just, like, it
No,
was weird.
and also
strange.
made me think that, well, I know we have this talked for a while about Cap going back to Peggy, but now I wonder, would that on a splintered timeline?
No, because he was
always
chosen
supposed
to do it. Yeah,
He was
his-
all everything the Avengers
Yeah.
did. They were supposed to do. That's what the
because
TVA
they were the good guys.
The Avengers get away with everything.
They can get away with anything. That's another.
Yeah.
This is another conversation for another time. But the MCU up until this point has zero consequences for any actions ever.
Oh,
And
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
enjoyed
For the
so much.
Avengers.
That's what I enjoyed so much about episode 4 is when Mobius steals Renslayer's temp pad, he immediately gets pruned for it. And I was like, damn it, Mobius. I'm so sad to see you go. But then I was like, let's go judge Renslayer, make him pay.
Mhm.
Damn, Ethan.
wow. Okay.
Mobius should have been an
But-
Avenger. Then he could get away with whatever he wanted.
Well,
Okay,
Right,
can we
exactly.
stop hating on the Avengers? You can hate on some
I
of
know.
them,
No.
not all of them.
I
You
think
can
there's
hate
just-
on Hawkeye all day, right,
I was
Candace?
gonna
Yeah.
say, can we
Like,
hate
I
on
don't do that
Hawkeye?
guy.
No, I will hate on the Avengers forever.
But I mean, like, it's just that they're not held to the same standard, or if they're not on the right side, if they're not on the side of the government, they're not held. They're like they get away with stuff, you know. Like,
But then
I
if they're on the side of the government, there's that whole issue with government control of superpower
Well, I
beings.
think that's where Civil War works so well. Is that's when like
They both got
after
their
all
points.
of this,
they're
they're
both
like,
wrong.
right,
Yeah,
consequences.
they both had the
and
points.
that's
Yeah.
the time-honored superhero question: would you like to be this kind of war criminal or this kind of
This
war
one.
criminal?
Right.
I mean, I think that's why I like Loki and even like Black Widow so much. And I said this like on another show is that like we are being like very clearly told that the people who are in the lead of this are not good people, and they are learning lessons about what being good people, like what being a good person means, especially with Loki. Like, and even in Black Widow, like it's established that like every single one of our heroes is a murderer. Like
It was
they don't-
Yeah,
they
well,
don't beat
and
around
that's
the bush.
something, and that's
Yeah.
something that Loki mentions, that
Yeah,
no
we're all
one
villains
is
here.
completely good and no one is completely bad.
But yeah, like
That's the
He
thing.
Who Remains says, we're all villains here.
We're all
And
villains.
you're like, yeah,
At the
you
eyes
all
of
are a bunch of
someone.
murderers.
Yeah.
At least they accepted it.
Yeah.
Bucky has a request for season 2. He would like to audition.
Yes.
Yes.
Put him in.
Candace.
Put him in.
Dog
Is Bucky a Loki variant?
Yeah, that's what he's wanting to do. He's wanting to be.
No, but is he actually a Loki variant?
But
I don't know.
IRL.
I think he's the Winter Soldier. I think he has training.
I wonder
Oh,
if
dear.
Grogu also wants to be Thor, because I
Yeah.
see him with
Oh my god, I
Mjolnir.
just saw that.
They have a very like tempestuous like relationship. Like they'll hate at each other, but then like I find them cuddling. It's weird, y'all. Weird. It's very Loki Thor.
Very.
Nice.
I love that.
Aww.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I want season 2 now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So next Wednesday, right? We're getting season 2.
Right, next
yeah.
Friday.
We've
Yeah.
just been like given all this Marvel stuff in
What are we
2020.
gonna do after this week, you guys? Like
No.
Loki's over, Bad
What do we
Batch is
got?
over this week too, right?
Well,
No,
No,
Bad Batch
August.
goes
Oh,
on
no,
for
oh
August.
God.
August.
I was like, what
But then
are we
in
gonna
August,
do?
we
think
have
August
What
13th.
If.
Okay.
Oh, we do
thank
have what
goodness.
ifs. Okay.
What if
What-
starts on August 11th? So you got like 3.5 weeks to go, or like 4
Okay.
weeks.
So
Okay.
basically,
Wait.
the same week
What-
that the Bad Batch
Yeah.
ends, What If
What if
begins.
starts?
Yeah. Boom.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Nice.
We won't be without.
And then we're almost to the book of Boba Fett.
Yeah. Woohoo.
And we're
Oh,
getting
wait.
Christmas. We've
we're
passed
getting
the
Miss
halfway
Marvel and
point.
Hawkeye this year, they say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hawkeye.
this year?
Yelena Belova. Yes.
Yep.
She's the only reason I'm going to watch that show. I'll be frank with you.
And Kate Bishop.
How about
Kate
Haley
Bishop,
Stein
too. Yeah, I
Stein
could go with that.
Look, can we just like off Hawkeye in the
and
first
pizza?
like episode
Yeah.
and then
Pizza the
take
dog.
that late in
That's the
fall?
energy I like.
Yeah,
I
We
like
just move
that.
on from there.
Boom.
I keep
Oops, oh no,
hoping-
he's gone. Look, we've killed
First
all
time
the
let's go.
mentors. Just Obi-Wan him, you know?
Yeah,
just,
there
like,
you go.
to have him go set a charge.
Don't
Yeah, Shang-Chi.
don't compare him
Shang-Chi.
to Obi-Wan.
Then we
Oh, no,
have
no,
the
I'm not comparing him.
Eternals.
I'm just saying do the normal thing that Star Wars does with old mentors and get rid of them within Act 1. by having them leave to set a charge. It happened to Obi-Wan. It happened to Han. It happened to Tandy Newton's character, whose name is
Val.
But Val went, set a charge, died. Boom. Just have them
you
go
know
do that.
what? It's
Have
all
some
about the
charge.
classic story. The mentor always dies, so the
Yeah.
hero has to rise to the
Wait,
challenge.
Wait, that means I'm gonna revise. I don't want Loki to become a mentor.
Oh damn!
Well, he breaks all the rules. Like that's why I'm
Yeah.
not worried about
Loki
Loki
survived,
following
though.
Clara.
Yeah,
Loki
Loki
survived.
survived.
Loki
Loki
always
survived.
survived.
Look at all those
Like,
variants.
no, that everybody who gets prunes gets sent to the void, and the only people we see in the void are Loki's. Loki's
Mhm.
survived.
And-
Always
and
survive.
a Thworg.
Wait,
And that
does
one
that mean
Thor.
Mobius is a
Frog.
Loki?
Does that mean what?
No, he just wasn't there long enough to die.
Well, Mobius is best friends with a Loki.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
All the Lokis.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Pretty close, yeah.
Even though
Two Lokis, Mobius.
he did say that Sylvie's his favorite.
He
Mhm.
did.
That was slick.
Yeah.
That was a really slick move, I have to say, because he said it next to Loki's ear.
Well, he's hugging
He
him.
was looking at Sylvie,
Very
so
right.
both of them think that now.
Oh yeah, he played both. Oh, that's a
Yeah.
Loki move. That is a Loki move.
Like-
Mobius is a
Loki
Loki.
move.
That must be
Confirmed.
it. We don't
You've
know.
heard it here first, folks.
Is
Mobius
there-
is a Loki,
Are
and
there
so is
Mobius
Hunter
is
D.
an
Hunter.
Pookie.
jet variant
Exactly.
of Loki.
Are there jet skis? No, you know what? They have
Jet
those
ski
skiffs
Lokis.
that are kind of like jet skis, but they like float.
Mhm,
You know?
Wait,
Somebody get
the
Mobius.
two
a skip.
horns. The two horns look like jet skis.
Oh, I love that.
We solved it. We solved it.
Figured it
Yeah, we
out.
solved it.
It's
So-
a Loki instead of a Loki instead of a Loki instead of a Loki, and actually, all of us are Lokis.
Mhm.
The Loki was within us all along.
Makes sense.
The Earth is actually a Loki.
Yes.
Everything.
That's
is
why
a
so
Loki.
much mischief happens.
Mm.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Well,
so
I
excited
am
about it.
really happy. There will be more Lokis in the MCU. I was really a little scared, but here
Agreed.
we
Mhm.
go. Okay,
So
so
excited.
Arzu, tell people where they can find you online.
Online, you can find me at Arzu Amin on Twitter. You can find me at my own site, arzud2.com. And you can also find me writing recaps, not for Loki anymore, but for the Bad Batch, at thegeekywaffle.com, as well as co-hosting The Geeky Waffle and hosting Space Waffles, which is out every other Monday.
Woo.
You can find me on Twitter at Maggie of the Town, which is usually
sorry,
right
sorry.
here. And you can find my link tree in my bio that has all the various things that I do. I am on the Outer Rim Beacon. I have the Star Wars, Let's Talk About Star Wars show on YouTube. I have the Taylor Swift podcast on the Geeky Waffle. I have Petticoats and Poppies over at Earglue Media. I am writing recaps for all sorts of things and reviews over at Your Money Geek. And then I'm writing movie and TV news at Collider. I'm everywhere. So just hit me up on my link tree and you can find everything.
Well, you can find me also on my Twitter at Norhal, and you can find me on my YouTube channel, Instagram, Nor-Hal, with my acoustic and piano covers. And yeah, hit me on Twitter, ranting about Marvel, Star Wars, pop culture, and such.
Yeah, you can find me at 15 Minute Marvel on Twitter. I think it's here. And anywhere that you can get a podcast, 15 Minutes of Marvel, every Wednesday and Friday at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. I talk about Marvel for 15 minutes. I try to keep it to 15 minutes. Sometimes I hit like 18, but, you know, there's a lot of Marvel stuff out there.
Yes.
And you guys can look for me anywhere. If you look for Oh Katrina, listed right there in the bottom. You can also find me on Whiskey and Waffles from the Cantina RPG show. Season 2 starts up next Friday. So excited to bring back Lobo, my Nautilin engineer. And you can also find me on the Geeky Waffle Network hosting Fight Club Far, Far Away, which is coming back very soon, along with Padro Pascal, which I co-host with my friend Rachel, which is a rundown of the filmography of actor Pedro Pascal. And when my friend Kayla and I feel like it, we make a great little show called Y Tu Pampa También, pop culture from a Latinx point of view. I do a bunch of other things, and I make video games. Please find my Twitter for more words.
Oh yeah, and we're at thegeekywaffle.com. Go the Geeky Waffle /links for all our social media. We hope you don't have to stay up all night to get Loki. Bye.
Woo!